Imagine spending your entire career helping someone else build an empire. You learn the business, you understand the industry, you know where the opportunities are, and one day you decide you are ready to build something of your own. Now imagine years later, you are competing against one of the biggest energy companies in the world for control of assets that worth hundreds of billions. It sounds like a movie, right? Well, that's exactly what's happening to Angola right now. And the outcomes could actually reshape who controls one of the most Africa's valuable natural resources. And welcome to Billionaires.Africa. And today we're looking at a fascinating battle unfolding in Angola, one that involves global oil giant, local entrepreneurs, $500 million in potential value, and much bigger questions. Who should own Africa's resource when foreign companies decide to leave? Now, let's get into it. Earlier this year, a British energy company called Energean made a major announcement. The company had agreed to purchase Chevron's offshore oil asset in Angola, and the deal included an upfront payment of $260 million, with additional payment up to $250 million tied to future oil production through 2038. And if those additions are met, the total value could reach approximately $510 million. For Energean, this was a significant moment. It would mark the company's first major move into sub-Saharan Africa. And at first glance, the deal looked straightforward. Chevron wanted to sell, Energean wanted to buy. Simple as that. And something happened was very unexpected, because another player stepped into the picture and essentially said the following. He said, "Not too fast." The player is Etu Energias. Etu Energias is Angola's largest private-owned oil company. But what makes the company fascinating isn't just the size, it's the people behind it. The company was founded in 2000 and was originally known as Sonangol, and today it's owned by 3 individuals who all have something important in common. They used to work for Sonangol, Angola's state-owned oil company. In other words, they learned the oil business from the inside. The largest stakeholder is Alberto Almeida de Souza, who won 50% of the company. Before becoming an entrepreneur, he led Sonangol's geographics division. Now, if you ever heard of geographics, think of it as the science of finding oil before anyone drills a single well. His entire career was spent analyzing which locations were worth investing in and which weren't. And his partners, Ana de Conceição Nunes and Alexandra Selgando Costa, also built their careers at Sonangol before moving into private sector. Together, they transformed their knowledge and experience into what is now Angola's largest private oil company. Now they are trying to acquire a very asset Chevron is selling. But how do they plan to stop an intentional transaction that already appears to be moving forward? The answer lies in something called preemption rights. Now, don't let legal terminologies scare you. I got you. The concept is very simple. Imagine your neighbor decide to sell their house. Before they can sell it to a stranger, they require to offer it to you first at the same price. And that's essentially what preemption right does. Certain oil agreements in Angola include provisions that allow existing partners or local companies to match an offer before an outsider buyer completes the purchase. And that's exactly what Etu Energias is attempting to do. The company has stepped forward and said, if those assets are being sold, we want the opportunity to buy them ourselves. And that's a bold move, but there is a challenge in this. Actually, it's a very significant challenge. To take over these offshore assets, Etu Energias must demonstrate that it has the technical capabilities to operate the deep water oil fields. And we're talking about the shallow water close to shore. These assets located in waters deeper than 300 meters. Operating in that environment requires specialized expertise, advanced technologies, and years of experience. At the moment, Etu needs a partner with experience. So while it pursues its claim, the company is also searching for a qualified deep-water operator to join the project. And time matters. Legal deadlines are approaching. Decision will have to be made, and the clock is ticking. Now you might be wondering, why should anyone outside of Angola cares about this? Because this isn't really just an oil story. It's an ownership story. For decades, many African natural resources were developed primarily by international companies. And those companies brought expertise, technology, and investment. So they also controlled the most of the assets and captured much of the value. Local companies often participated, but rarely as the dominant players. And today, that reality is beginning to change. Across the continent, government and local businesses are pushing for greater ownership of strategic resources. And we're seeing it in Nigeria. A consortium of indigenous companies, including Petroleum, Walter Smith, and Etu Energias, acquired Shell's onshore Nigerian businesses for approximately $2.4 billion. And we're also seeing it in Mozambique, where local farms are positioning themselves around major natural gases discoveries. And now we're seeing it in Angola. And the message is becoming increasingly clear. When the international companies decide to leave, African governments want to give the local people or the African people the chance to take their places. Not another foreign company, not another international investor. Local ownership, local control, local participation. And that's what makes the Etu Energias story very important. Because if the company succeeds, it will represent something much bigger than a single transaction. It will prove that African professionals can spend years learning within national institutions, build successful private enterprises, and then compete directly for assets that were once considered beyond their reach. Think about what that means. 3 individuals started their careers working inside a state-owned company. They gained experience. They developed expertise. They took the risk and built their own businesses. And now they are competing in one of the most complex and capital-intensive industries in the world. Whether they ultimately win or lose this particular battle, that's already an extraordinary story. And it's a story that reflects a broader shift happening across Africa. A shift from participation to ownership. A shift from supporting roles to leadership roles. A shift from simply extracting resources to controlling the business built around them. So, as this deal unfolds, don't just watch the numbers. Watch what it represents. Because the real story isn't just about $260 million. It's a story about who's going to reshape the future of African energy. And that is the exactly story that's worth paying attention for. If you have enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. And don't forget to leave your thoughts on how Africa's or local ownership on African energy sector. And please share this story on someone who is more interested on business or Africa's future. I'll see you in the next one.